Welcome to the Yamz experience. I'm Yamana, known on the internet as Coach Yamz, and you're joining me on a journey through life's adventures. Each episode is a deep dive into my raw, unfiltered thoughts and spontaneous reflections. Get ready to embrace the authenticity and unpredictability as I share my experiences and insights with you. Thank you for joining for episode number 2 of the Yams Experience. Excuse me. This episode is titled From Shame to Freedom, My Body's Revelation. Excuse me. From Shame to Freedom, My Body's Revolution. This episode is just going to talk about my forced weight loss, body shaming and overcoming that, discovering confidence and reflections of the Body Liberation Project, which is a book that I just finished reading about a week ago at the time of this recording. So, if you see me looking off camera because you're watching me, I have notes because I am a podcaster on the Healing Corner podcast. I've been doing that for 2 years, but as a podcaster by myself, this is still new. And so I want to make sure I hit all the high points and not leave anything out of this experience. And so I have some notes to keep me on task because sometimes I go off on a tangent, which is okay, but that might not be what you're here for. Excuse me. Anyway, the first thing I want to get into is talking about my forced weight loss and lifestyle changes. So, if you know me or have known me or go back to earlier pictures of me on social media, I, at my heaviest, was 240 pounds. At graduation from high school, I was 160 pounds. Why does this matter? Not anything in particular, just to give you some context, right? But last year, 2023, in April, I decided that I wanted to do a hypnotherapy session with a healer. Her name is Chelsea Albert, and she's based here in Nashville. And I wanted to do a hypnotherapy session with her because I wanted to break up with sugar being a thing that was heavy in my diet, right? I have since since about sophomore year in college struggled with being technically obese, and so I wanted to do something to help get me over the plateau that I'd reached because I was working out and I was dieting and I was doing the things to be a healthier, better me, right? But it just, I couldn't get below 215 on my own with the work that I was efforting to make my body change. And then comes the hypnotherapy session with Chelsea, which was, I want to say, Good Friday of 2023. And prior to, I had had food allergies. I had an intolerance to dairy. I had an intolerance to ascorbic acid, which is manufactured man-made vitamin C. And I had discovered that there was an allergy I had to barley. So I eliminated beer and certain breads and pizza doughs and yada yada from my diet and was living my best life, but still eating sugar and drinking and all the things, right? Anyway, did the hypnotherapy session in April 2023. And in May of 2023, I discovered that I was having reactions to the food I was ingesting. What is the reaction? Everybody's body is different, but the yams experience has been when I ingest food that my body does not agree with, it either causes gastrointestinal, aka stomach pains and problems, or it causes a breaking out and rash and burning of my lips. It is not pleasant. It is a several day process to get back to normal. And it's a fucking pain, to be honest. So being a person who had gone to an allergen before to have all the tests done to see what I was allergic to, I referenced that information from years ago when I figured out the barley allergy. And I was like, okay, what else is on this list of things that I could see about eliminating? Well, it came down to me needing to eliminate gluten, and it came down to me needing to eliminate corn. And okay, so the Mexican restaurant dinner is going to look different. I can't have chips and salsa. But after I had eliminated the gluten and the corn, and by the way, gluten is in a lot more stuff than people realize. And I know that I've known people over the years, or I've heard people over the years talk about their gluten intolerance and allergies and celiac disease and blah, blah, blah. I didn't know what that meant, how it impacted the food in America, but we can get to that later, if, you know. Or if you have specific questions, please drop them in the comments or reach out to me. Anyway, I knew that gluten was an issue. I knew that corn was an issue. The corn, though, has been a whole nother bitch. And I'm going to tell you why. Because my body is so demanding and so precise with a thing that corn means high fructose corn syrup. It means modified food starch. It means xanthanon gum. It means maltodextrin, dextrose. It is all the varieties of sugar plus all derived from corn that is the allergy that exists. So we're talking flavored potato chips. We're talking any kind of a chip snack that's not made of potato. So Cheetos, Fritos, all the things in between. Down to condiments. Bet you didn't know this. There is high fructose corn syrup in a lot of mayonnaise and in ketchup. Anyway, um, having to navigate how to eat in America with this level of allergy felt crazy. It was hard. It was depressing sometimes. Hell, I cried for the first 3 months easy because I didn't know what the things were. And I was figuring these things out. I've learned all the specifics of corn as I have taken this journey, right? But then, in addition to the corn and the gluten, was also oats and rice flour. I can eat rice just fine. Rice flour, however, a problem. Anyway, with all of that said, it has been a journey for over a year for me now of having to learn how to ask the right questions when I go out to eat, how to feel confident enough to ask these questions, and how to be specific enough and nuanced enough to make sure that I'm getting my needs met while also being able to navigate the world like a regular person. Because who wants to have to cook every meal at home? That's crazy. Especially if you're working and entrepreneuring, or if you have kids, or whatever the case may be. So I have, because of my food allergies, had to change my lifestyle and how I eat and how I navigate the world. So my first experience with how to navigate the world with food allergies was with a good friend of mine. She has a peanut allergy and has since, apparently since she was a kid. And going on a vacation with her and witnessing her have the conversations in public with these restaurant staff and the types of questions to ask and all of that is really where I got my foothold on, okay, these are the kinds of questions that I need to ask. This is the stuff that I need to find out because this is how it impacts the food that I'm going to possibly be ingesting. Because every time I go out to eat, it's a 50-50 chance of it being whatever it's going to be. I promise I'm getting to the body shaming of this all and the body revolution of this all. Anyway, that was my first real experience with learning how to navigate these food allergies. And after that, and after educating myself on where corn and gluten show up. I now have a better hold on this. I have gone from, I was holding at about 215 pounds as a regular weight to about 160 pounds as a standard weight for me now. Like I finally leveled out. I was nervous there for a bit because I did not know if I was going to level out. Um, but yes, about 160 pounds, which is my high school weight, which is why I referenced that in the beginning. Anyway, I say all this to say that food allergies suck. The food in the United States of America has a lot more in it than meets the eye, which makes navigating these allergies suck. And it is a testament to being more intentional about how you treat your body and the things that you choose to put into it. How does this tie in to body shaming and the rest of things, right? So, growing up, I was at maximum 160, 165 pounds when I graduated from high school. Growing up in the household that I grew up in with a mother and a sister younger than me, I was told by my mother that I was fat. I was told that I was essentially too shapely, and that I needed to do something to not wear the size and be the size that I was. And there was a lot of comparison with her versus me. I wasn't particularly uncomfortable with my body, but being told regularly that I should be uncomfortable with my body, growing up in a single parent home where finances were strained, that looked like secondhand clothing, which might mean things didn't necessarily fit great. And so, with that, and with growing up with someone who I now recognize had their own body things that she still may need to work through, she was projecting her shit on me, and that reflected in how I chose to dress, how I chose to have confidence in myself and what was appropriate. And so for a very long time, I was uncomfortable in my skin, wearing something that one may call skimpy, doing something like twerking, uh, any of these things would have been shameful behavior, would have been frowned upon. Clothing needed to fit loose. Why would you have anything that's skin tight or that's revealing? Because it's shameful. I was told that I was fat, and so I don't know if subconsciously I had put on weight to hide myself. Um, but what I do know is that after I realized I had food allergies, and also in the midst of recognizing that I had not ever really enjoyed being in my body since high school ish, after I had gained weight and things and gone to college, whatever. Um, it was interesting to go through the journey of um, recognizing how I felt about myself, and recognizing that a lot of things that were not my own thoughts about me needed to be undone in order to get to the next level of wherever I'm headed, right? So that looked like going through the motions of having conversations with people about how I felt about myself. That looked like journaling through what I thought about myself, having conversations with my therapist, having conversations with other people who have either talked to other people about a similar experience or have had this experience themselves. I've had friends who have encouraged doing the work of standing in front of a mirror and speaking positively to myself. I had one coach in the business space who encouraged me to stand naked in front of a mirror and look at myself and encourage myself and that kind of thing, just to build the confidence in self. And over time, doing those things and having conversations with myself and leaning into the changes that I was forced to incorporate into my life with the food part of things, it it made me have to have a conversation with myself. It made me have to discover how it is that I felt about me and how I wanted to start to show up in the world. And with that, I decided to get into juicing. Um, it's hit or miss if I stick with it, but it's something that I did dabble in, and it was good while I did do it. And I learned a lot about fruits and juices and creating that for yourself. And then it looked like getting into makeup and having a Mary Kay lady who comes over and helps me try out different looks. And then it looked like me getting into thrifting and trying on different clothes and being comfortable with experimenting with looks that may not be looks that I would have normally defaulted to in my old way of thinking, where everything needs to be like neutral colored and you could wear it a couple days in a row. Not that I did, but if I did, that's my business. But you couldn't tell because it was neutral. But now it's more bold and it's more vibrant and it's more fun and it's patterns and there's options. And even exploring with shoes. I don't do a whole lot of high heels, but I have a pair or two now, which has been fun. Um, and so I say all that to say that no matter where you have been, no matter where you are going, um, having an understanding of who you are and how you want to show up, and getting to a place that you are comfortable in your body and in your skin, no matter what other people have said or currently say, is the ultimate revolution for stepping into your body and into your comfort. One of the things that I have found the strangest about the weight loss that I have experienced is that everybody feels entitled to talk to me about how my body looks, which, while I welcome compliments, which has been something I've had to get comfortable with taking in, because being weird and uncomfortable in my skin, saying thank you for a compliment is foreign territory that I've had to learn to get used to. But in addition to that, with weight loss and with being skinny, the world deems that as looking great. And while I understand that visually a thing looks appealing, it can be detrimental to one to make comments about somebody's body and their weight. Um, and I myself have been guilty of this. So, no shade to anybody who said anything to me about my body. But I did read a book recently by a woman, I want to say her name is Chrissy King, called The Body Liberation Project. And she talks about how white supremacy, how capitalism, how all of the things of patriarchy and the way that our systems, especially in America, are set up, play into having to have a European thin body to be a certain standard of beauty and acceptable, and to have an able body and to have, not be gay and like all the rules, right? But how talking about somebody's body and making people's outward appearance the focal point of somebody's worth and value takes a toll on people mentally, emotionally, and everywhere else. So with this episode, I challenge you to ask yourself how you are playing into what society expects bodies to look like and appear like and operate like, and to read the book, The Body Liberation Project, because everybody should. We should all do our part. And also to ask yourself how you feel about you. and make sure that you are taking steps to feel better about you. And the book does a really good job of giving tools beyond positive affirmations and journaling, because you can't positive your way only out of how you feel about your body. Sometimes there's racism and other things layered onto how one feels about their body. And so to I challenge you to ask yourself how you feel about your body and to do something differently so that you can feel great in your body, because you deserve to feel great, and you are more exciting and more beautiful and vibrant than whatever this shell is that you are going through your human experience in. Bodies are meant to change. Bodies are meant to ebb and flow. Sometimes there's going to be fat here and skinny there. There's going to be stretch marks. There's going to be scars. There's going to be moles. Shit happens. Love the body that you're in, because it is the vessel that's going to carry you through this journey. Make sure that you move it as often as possible if you need help moving it. On Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, you can definitely join me at Dance with Yamz, YAMZ.com, where I host a virtual dance party where we dance for 10 to 15 minutes just to get the blood moving and just to have a good time and meet with community who just wants to break away from the monotony of the week. I've enjoyed this conversation. I hope that something that I have shared has been helpful. I will make sure to tag the title of the book that I referenced and the author in the show notes. And I would be so appreciative if you like, shared, subscribed to the podcast, the YouTube channel, wherever you are viewing this. And if there's anything that you got in particular, please put that in the comments. Or if you don't feel comfortable putting it in the comments, reach out to me at coachyams.com. I'd love to have a conversation. Until next time, thank you for joining the Yams experience. I'll see you next time.